Welcome back to the Build Show. I am your host over here at the Empower Gaming Studio, building yet again another PC. Rebuilding another PC. Thank you, Carter, for the like over there on Facebook. Appreciate you. So here we have Tyler's current PC. We're going to give it a little bit of an upgrade today. So we are going to use a couple of his parts from his existing system, and then we're going to work some magic, taking his existing system and putting it on a new platform. So this is currently an AIM 4 platform, and we're going to move him over to an AIM 5 platform today. That is our main goal. But with doing that, we also need to upgrade the case, because the motherboard was ATX motherboard. So we're going to be upgrading him from the AIM 4 platform to AIM 5, specifically the Ryzen 7 7700X on a Gigabyte B650 Gaming X AX V2 and 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM. We also have an M.2 NVMe SSD because he has a SATA SSD in here as well. So we're going to get some more benefit from speed, at least with load times, using that M.2 drive. So we are going to try to clone his existing SATA SSD to the M.2. I'm not going to do that on the stream, but I am going to do the hardware swap. And we also have a new case and a new CPU cooler. We're going to be reusing his graphics card and his power supply. The rest of it's going to stay in the build. We're going to go through and remove all of that from his existing PC, and then we're going to put it in the new one. Build his new PC. Basically a new build, because he just recently got this graphics card and he recently got the power supply. And it is a 1000 watt Corsair RM 1000E, for those of you who are wondering. Alright, so we're going to specifically only take out the graphics card and the power supply, and then we're also going to remove his SATA SSD, which is just sitting right here, disrupting the intake airflow that this case does have. If any of you remember this case, this is actually a very popular case from Newegg. Hey, what's up, Jesse? Welcome back to the Build Show, Inc. Over there on the Twitch side, Mrs. Cat. Welcome back to the Build Show. But this is a very popular, budget-friendly case to build in. It included some blue fans, LED fans, and it was super popular back in the day. So this was actually used quite a bit, especially in more budget-style builds. The problem with it now, today, is it lacks a lot of more modern support, such as it doesn't have support for radiators. Not that it's required, but it's the back of the case is really tight, so you really can't fit any cables in there. The height of your tower air cooler is very limited in this case, and the length of your graphics card is actually pretty limited. This is just an RX 6600, and it's taken up the majority of the case. It's almost at the front of the case there. So it's very limited, and it's very hard to cable manage in this case. The airflow is not the greatest because the entire front is not mesh. There is a mesh panel on the front, which is nice, and it was nice at its time. But today, we want to see more mesh front panel than that. So it definitely would help with the airflow. So this is an aged case. Aged well, I would say. Definitely still a case you could use today if you wanted to. But not one that I would recommend anymore. Especially if you plan on continuing to upgrade. I'm going to pull his SSD because we are going to put that in the new build just to clone over to his new SSD. So we'll just work on getting this power supply unplugged. It looks like I have most of it unplugged. Looks like we're going to have to pop the back, undo one cable. Still has a twist tie on it. We're just going to undo that. There we are. And feed it back through where he routed it. which is through the hard drive cage. Don't really blame him for doing what he did, because there's not a whole lot you could do in this case when it comes to cable management. Very tight on the backside. Got majority of our cables. The only concern I have here is that we don't have an additional EPS cable, the Gigabyte B650. We can run it on one, and then hope that he has the rest of the cables still for his power supply. Oh dear. Not too sure how he managed that. To be honest. Ah, there's actually a second SSD in here I was not aware of. Hiding. I don't know which one is actually the C drive with Windows on it. We'll have to figure out which one of these 2.5 SATAs is the C drive. Not sure on that. Alright, so now that we've got the majority of our cables pulled through, we can properly remove the power supply from the case. Only had 3 screws in it. Good. Okay. Tight fit with the power supply. We've got it entangled. So we've freed the power supply. Now we're going to remove the graphics card. Well, there it is. Graphics card removed. I'm going to put the case back together because I think he does plan on keeping everything and possibly donating the system to somebody. So we'll put the case back together, put all the screws back where they were. I think we're pulling the hard drive as well. I'll pull that real quick. There we go. Also going to remove it from the hard drive caddy because we'll have our own caddy for the drive in the new case. Hey, what's up, Ant-Man? Welcome back to the Build Show. Some giant idiot. Welcome back to the Build Show. Kind of a quiet night so far. I did start pretty late though, so kind of anticipated that. Not my normal start time. And it's kind of like middle of the week. I don't typically stream on Tuesday nights, although I have the last couple nights. Hey, what's up, Loop? Welcome back to the Build Show. Sure. There we go. The hard drive caddy back in the case for future use. These are unique screws to this. We do want to keep the case. Okay, so we've got our power supply, our graphics card, and our storage removed. I'm going to go ahead and put the case back together, and we can get our new hardware out and start assembling the new build. What motherboard is this today? Today we are building with a B650 Gaming AX motherboard by Gigabyte. This is the old system that we're pulling parts from to assemble the rest of the new system. So everything that's in this tower is staying in there. This is all the old hardware that is not coming with us. The new hardware, however, is, and it includes a new case, is a Gigabyte B650 Gaming AX V2 with a Ryzen 7 7700X AM5 processor, 32 gigs of DDR5 6000 CL36 RAM. We've also got our AM5 contact frame for the CPU, and then a M.2 NVMe SSD, which is a Team Group MP44, 1 terabyte, super fast drive. So we're going to upgrade from that SATA SSD over to a M.2, and it's going to be lightning fast. And then we're going to be cooling the CPU with a Liquid Freezer 3 Pro. This is actually my first time, I think first or second time building with the Pro, but the solid cooler, especially for AMD. And then the case that we're going to be putting everything in is the Montech Air 903 Max. So, wonderful, well-balanced system, along with his 1,000 watt power supply, which I hope he does have the additional cables for, because the cables that we have here is missing quite a few. So I hope he has the rest of the cables for this power supply, because we might need the additional EPS for the motherboard, not required to boot, but if you ever wanted to play around with overclocking, he would definitely need the additional EPS cable for this board. So let's go ahead and get started with the motherboard build, shall we? We had some dust come out of that old system. Wipe it down real quick. Damn good motherboard. Love Gigabyte motherboards and GPUs, yes. A Pro version of the ALF3. Yeah, because ALF3 wasn't enough, so they had to add 3 more letters, Pro. It's the ALF3 Pro. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and zoom right on in. Nice. Does it still use that stupid mounting bracket? Yes, it still uses the stupid mounting bracket. Unfortunately. Where my cutter went? Cutter. Screwdriver will work. What's Max doing? Max is just hanging out underneath me because he got to eat dinner. No, he's just hanging out in his, probably snoozing here. Yeah, Max is snoozing. Putting his snout in a hole of his bed that he made, so. Just enjoying the evening. Waiting for Dad to be done working. Alright, let's go ahead and drop the CPU into the socket. Of course, place it gently into the socket. Liquid Freezer 2 for life. I have a Liquid Freezer 2 here still. A 420 millimeter. Super nice cooler. Alright, so now that we've got the CPU in the socket covering up the pins, we're going to go ahead and remove the stock bracket and replace it with the Thermalright contact frame. I removed the old one, and we're going to replace it with a new one. Ever install a AMD Threadripper 64 core? Not 64, but one of the, gosh, what was it? 30 something cores? Yes, I've installed those. I've done those a couple of streams ago. Actually, more than a couple of streams ago now. About 3 weeks ago, I'd say, 3 or 4 weeks ago. Never had one of these fit like this before. That was interesting. That was the first time it was kind of a strange fit. Go. Got that mounted. Now we'll move on to the RAM. What's up, Sadie? Likes reminder. Oh, thank you. Yeah, if you haven't already liked the stream, feel free to do so. It does help out. But this is 32 gigs of DDR5 6000 megahertz CL36. And we're going to put it in slots A2 and B2. Simple. Next is a 1 terabyte M.2 NVMe, an MP44 by Team Group Gen 4 SSD. We're going to be just putting it here in the top slot. And we need an M.2 screw from the motherboard box. Go. How did that install go? Thoughts on the Threadripper? Well, Threadripper's nice. It's nice for unique situations. This particular person was using it for AI purposes, and he needed the bandwidth of and more PCIe lanes. So that's why we went with Threadripper. If it's just a gaming PC, a Threadripper is not going to benefit just a gaming PC in general, or might help out with a streaming PC, giving you more cores to work with while you're multitasking if you're gaming and streaming on the same system, but really not needed for gaming or streaming for the most part, so kind of overkill. So unless you're doing some crazy video editing or some crazy 3D modeling that requires that kind of horsepower, or doing some type of AI, something with AI, or you need that many PCIe lanes that Threadripper offers, then there's just no reason to go to Threadripper. But the installation went well. Definitely different power connectors on the motherboards for the Threadripper, so something to consider if you are planning to build one. Alright, so next, the Liquid Freezer 3 Pro. We're going to go ahead and get our mounting hardware out and get that set up here on the board so that's ready to go. That we don't have to deal with it later. I'm just going to go ahead and get the cooler completely out of the box. We won't need to go back into this box afterwards. We're going to remove the stock brackets here and replace it with Arctic brackets for the cooler. And it's just these plastic pegs that go over the forks of the back plate, and then you have a left and a right bracket. It is indicated with an L and an R on the bracket. It is important to make sure that you get those in the right position, because if you don't, the offset's going to be wrong. So it is important to make sure get the offset correct. That's the left, right on the bracket. That is how you line up the offset correctly. You can see this one has a R on it, indicating that it's the right side. The other one has a L on it, indicating the left side. Intel installation is a little bit different. They have a unique bracket You're mounting actually directly to the socket for Intel. Not as big of a fan as that with that design. Hey, what's up, Joe Schmo? I don't know, it's my first time having a PC. What's up? Help, I just bought a PC and I have no Wi-Fi. Oh no. I would definitely take Some Giant Idiot's suggestion, join the Discord channel, and start a chat in the support channel on the Discord. But your motherboard is a Strix B650A gaming Wi-Fi. So if you don't have any Wi-Fi and this is your first PC that you just built, more than likely the Windows installation that you installed does not have the drivers for that motherboard. So you'll have to either download them from another computer, put them on a flash drive, and then plug it into your system, install the Wi-Fi drivers, and then you should be able to connect. Or if you have a wired Ethernet connection, most new motherboards will download the driver from the BIOS to get it started. So as long as you get it plugged into a wired Ethernet connection, it'll start the ASUS Armoury Crate installation process. Once you get the ASUS Armoury Crate installed, you can download, start downloading the drivers. I think they now have a new tool for ASUS. Can't remember what it's called, like driver something, but you could get it from the ASUS Armoury Crate very easily. And then it'll install the rest of your system drivers for the motherboard, which is your Wi-Fi, your audio, your Ethernet, your chipset drivers. All of those would get installed on the system through the ASUS Armoury Crate, but you do need that wired Ethernet connection to get that started. And if that's not an option, the only other thing you could do, like I said, is go use a laptop or another computer, go to the manufacturer's website, which is the ASUS Strix B650A gaming Wi-Fi, go to the drivers under the support section and download the Wi-Fi driver to a USB drive, plug it in your new system, install the Wi-Fi driver, connect the Wi-Fi, and then you can start doing the same process from there. That is simply put how you would go about doing that, Joe. It's kind of a pain when you don't have an Ethernet connection for a new system. I wish they would include both Wi-Fi and Ethernet, but they don't. And it sounds like you have a really old Windows install. So it was probably a USB drive that you purchased with the license, and it's an old copy of Windows on that. So you'll have a ton of updates to do with that install. Because typically, most current Windows installs are going to detect the Wi-Fi and be able to just run most of the Wi-Fi cards on the motherboards. Alright, so now that this is done, we've got our CPU installed, our CPU contact frame. We've got our brackets for our Liquid Freezer 3 Pro ready to go. We've got our 32 gigs of DDR5 6000 CL36 installed, and then a 1 terabyte M.2 Gen 4 SSD. That's all good to go on the motherboard. So next, we can move this aside, zoom out, get the case. There are too many steps. Return the PC parts and order a complete system from Empower Gaming. Good point, but hey, TTV Brady. Just built my first PC today, trying to install Windows 10, and it won't read the flash drive with Windows 10 on it. Any tips? Been at it all day. To be honest, I don't know if you have a requirement to go to Windows 10. I'd say scratch Windows 10. It's going to be discontinued in October anyway. I would just go to Windows 11. That's my advice. If you don't want to deal with all the extra BS, just go straight to Windows 11. So if you have a laptop or another computer, take your flash drive, go to the Windows 11 download site, and you can actually create a new bootable Windows 11 installation media on that USB drive. But going back to your original question, why isn't it not booting to the drive? If you had a existing Windows drive that you plugged into the system, let's say it's from an old computer, it might be trying to boot to that, not the USB drive. So you have to go into the BIOS and actually tell it to boot to the USB drive, not the other drive. So you might have to tell it what drive to boot to, or the installation files is not a bootable USB drive, meaning when BIOS hands it off to the USB drive, it doesn't know that that is a bootable USB drive. So maybe that's not set up right. Hey, what's up, Jack Boy? Welcome to the Build Show. Penguin to the rescue, says Ant-Man over on YouTube. So I hope that makes sense. And if you need any additional help, Brady, you can join the Discord channel, and there is a support section in the Discord, and you can drop your questions there. I can even jump on calls when I'm not streaming and help you out. Thank you, some giant idiot. Discord channel is linked in the chat. Get this case out. Continue Tyler's. But if it's not booting to the drive, it sounds like most likely there's something wrong with the USB drive. If you're having trouble with that, just use the installation media kit from Windows. Free IT support? That's absolutely mad. I know. Some people do call me crazy. But call me maybe. That was really messed up. But in my defense, I have daughters. And one of them's 12. So, I listen. God, I love this music. But thank you. I'm glad it fits well. Also, if you still have the USB drive plugged in after you installed Windows, you need to remove the USB, order Windows boots. It actually doesn't really do that anymore, Loop. I haven't had it do that in a while. Just joined? Awesome. There should be a support channel you can join there and drop your question in there after the stream. I could try to take a look at it and give you some tips there. Thinking about ordering the case from last stream. Oh, the Okinawa's Cybrus 3, I think that's what it was. Great looking out for the community. Yeah, we try sometimes, you know. All right, so this is the Montech Air 903 Max. It is a very large ATX mid-tower. When I say very large, it's actually, compared to other cases, not that large. It's your typical mid-tower ATX case. It's got 3 140 millimeter PWM addressable RGB fans on the front there, and then a rear 140 millimeter standard black PWM fan. It also includes a really nice addressable RGB hub and PWM hub for your fans. So with additional slots, so you can add more fans. It gives you the option of a 360 millimeter radiator at the top, and then 2 120 millimeter fans at the bottom if you wanted to add some additional airflow to the bottom of the case. Really nice case, super easy to build in. my opinion, this is probably one of the better cases for the value. Airflow is great. Cable management is pretty easy. Just working in the case is simple. So, very simple. Very simple design. And it's effective. Yeah, thank you for the follow over there, TTV Brady. It did it for me last month on my last build. Huh. That must have been because you set the BIOS to boot to the USB and then didn't... yeah, I guess that would make sense if you set the BIOS. That is correct. It would do that. You're right. If you go into the BIOS and you manually select it to boot to that, it will continuously boot to that until you unplug it. And then it'll select the next bootable device. Thank goodness BIOS is smart enough to do that. I remember the days when BIOS wasn't smart enough to do that, and you had to manually go back and change it to the next bootable device. Those were the days. Fun stuff. Joe Schmo, are you talking about this USB in the box says Windows 11? Yes. I guess I'm talking about that. But I was talking about that in regards to TTV Brady over on Twitch. I'm streaming to Twitch, Kick, YouTube, Facebook, and X. So, multiple platforms here. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I can do a remote session if you get it connected to the internet and help you set up the rest of the piece. But I would recommend joining the Discord channel and dropping a support chat so I don't forget to help you. Because I'm a busy guy. I'm new to building and I just can't figure it out, LOL. Well, it's pretty easy. Do you have another computer, TTV Brady, over on Twitch? Do you have another computer to work with at least, if we need to rebuild the USB? Alright, so we're dropping the motherboard into the case. And then we're going to use the screws that come with the case to finish mounting it. And then we're going to install the power supply. That way we could get our EPS cable in up here at the corner before we put our AIO in. Makes it a little bit easier. Unfortunately, no, only a school laptop. Does a school laptop allow you to download and install things if you had to? Or is it locked down? And is it Windows based? Ben, have to head out, but if you know it exists, I will hunt you. What? Ant-Man, can you try retyping that? I'm having a hard time reading it. Yeah, download. Well, I don't know if it'll work if it doesn't allow us to run a program that we download. Well, it's installing Windows 11. Well, that's good. That's a start, Joe Schmo. Once you get past that, Joe Schmo, you should be getting to like a welcome setup screen. They'll be asking you, what's your name? Just set up your Microsoft account, blah, 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 stuff like that. Log in. And then should actually ask you to connect to your Wi-Fi while you're doing that, if it has a Wi-Fi driver with that Windows installation. But most of them do have a Windows install. Or, I'm sorry, they do have Wi-Fi drivers with them now. So, be pretty surprised if it doesn't. Tat to Tuna, afternoon people. Hope everyone had a great Tuesday. It was a very eventful Tuesday over here. Lots of stuff got done. So it's Chrome based. Well, we still might be able to do it. Maybe. All right. So there's the motherboard installed. We're going to go ahead and put our power supply in. Like I said, I want to do that so we can get our EPS cables plugged in up here before we introduce the large cooler at the top, which will make it more difficult to get that plugged in. I'm going to just go ahead and throw the cooler in here. We'll get that installed. Got 3 ads right after I chatted, so I might have missed what you said. So TTV Brady over on Twitch, if you have a Chromebook, you could try going to the Windows 11 Installation Media website and downloading the Windows Installation Media tool and plugging your USB drive in there and see if you can run it there. I don't know if it works on a Chromebook. I have no idea. I was having a bad day until I banned a bot. Now I'm feeling really good. Nice. We had a few bots over on the Kick side yesterday. I took care of them, but that was the first time I've ever seen a bot over on Kick. I didn't know building a PC as a first-timer is as complicated, and I watched XQC build a PC, and Jesus, I stopped halfway. Yeah. Hey, what's up, owner? Welcome back to the build show, sir. Ant-Man, he can download a Linux distro. No, we're getting too complicated. Don't go to there, Ant-Man. Getting too complicated. But yes, you could. You could do that. Want to keep it. There we go. Power supply in. Now, we're going to route out all of our cables, flip it over, and plug everything in. I think our USB 3 is on the side. Balls Deep, welcome to the supporter. Thank you for joining the members over on the YouTube side. Balls Deep. So weird saying that. You gotta change your name, man. Sadie, PS2. Played a lot of GTA with my friend back in the day. A lot of fun. So I have to download the media creation tool. Yes, that is correct. Forgish Floor, welcome back to the Build Show. I see someone has a good taste. Air Max Montex, such an easy case to build in. Great airflow. Exactly what I said earlier. I think you already watched part of the stream and copied what I said. Just kidding. I'm so glad Ben had to give that a shout out. I'm not gonna not do it. Gotta. Officially out there on YouTube. Still, no Wi-Fi after installing Windows 11. I waited for none, bruv. Waited for none. I don't know what to tell you other than it. Are you making it to the desktop at least, or what is this? What are you at, Joe Schmo? What's on the screen? Right. Got everything plugged in now. We can install a cooler. Click the globe icon to go to the network and internet, and there's still no drivers. Then you're going to have to download the drivers, because I think your Windows 11 installation media is so old that it doesn't include your motherboard Wi-Fi drivers. Or your motherboard doesn't have Wi-Fi. Didn't think about that one, but... Ball Steep sent 5 Empower Gaming Computers gift memberships. Well, thank you for the gift memberships, Nick. I know your real name. Much appreciated. No Wi-Fi button. So I'd recommend... what motherboard was it again? Sorry. But I'd recommend, if you have another computer, Joe Schmo, go on that computer, use a USB drive, download your motherboard Wi-Fi drivers, move them to the USB drive, take that USB drive, put it in your new computer, and install the Wi-Fi drivers from there. That is what you're going to have to do to get past this. Or you can get a newer Windows 11 installation that would include the drivers. Strix B650A gaming Wi-Fi. I'm just laughing at Balls Deep. Nick. Not you, Joe Schmo. Strix B650A gaming Wi-Fi. So it does have Wi-Fi. So you definitely need to go to the website on another computer that has internet, download it, put it on a USB drive, plug that in your new computer, install the Wi-Fi drivers. And if you need help with doing that, I would suggest joining the Discord channel and dropping a note in the support channel, and I could try to help you there after the stream. Also, yes, good point. Some giant idiot recommends plugging your computer, new computer, into your router or your modem, which is a wired Ethernet cable. One of these guys. Use one of these. That'll get you, that'll probably get you connected to the internet. That was an Ethernet cable that I was just showing you. What graphics card is going in this build? SW Trev. This is a upgrade for an existing customer. So they were on an AM4 platform. We're upgrading them to an AM5 platform. And their existing graphics card, which they're going to continue to use until they upgrade later, is an RX 6600 by ASRock. The ASRock Challenger. You might have to move the computer to the modem. That's the only way you're going to get it online. And then download your drivers, and once that's all set and you got the Wi-Fi working, unplug it and move it back. Yeah, carry your PC to the living room. That's the only thing I could suggest to do. Unless you have another computer, or you could download your Wi-Fi drivers, put it on a USB drive, take that USB drive, plug it into your new computer, and install your Wi-Fi drivers from the USB drive. Other than that, carry the PC over to the modem, plug it in, take your monitor, everything. Your Wi-Fi driver. You go to the Asus Strix B650A gaming Wi-Fi support page from their website, and then you go to the support section of that website for that motherboard. You go to drivers, you select Wi-Fi, download. Can anybody find the link for him, the direct link? It's a Strix B650A gaming Wi-Fi. Asus. The Wi-Fi driver is what tells Windows how to operate your Wi-Fi on your computer. That is why you don't have Wi-Fi, because the driver's not installed. Thank you, Some Giant Idiot. Some Giant Idiot posted the link. So go to that link on another computer and then locate the Wi-Fi driver for that motherboard. Download it, put it on a USB drive, and then plug it into your new system and run and install the download. I'm about to rage out with this. I've been sitting here for 2 hours. There's nothing we can do to change it. You have to download the driver. So you either have to take the computer and physically plug it into the internet, or you have to go download the driver from Asus's website on another computer on a USB drive and plug it into your new system and install the driver. That's the only way you're going to get it connected. Those two options. It does, but it's not working because it's not connected to the Ethernet. Armoury Crate relies on Ethernet connection. So it'll get the Ethernet plugged in. When you plug in your Ethernet, it'll download the Armoury Crate, and then it'll start downloading your drivers. So yes, Sadie, it will do that, but you have to be plugged into an Ethernet cable. The wired internet connection. Okay, so let's get the cooler installed, guys. And maybe Joe will update us on whether or not he has another computer he could do that on. Or if he's going to move it downstairs. Alright. This is the Liquid Freezer 3 Pro. Fans are already installed, which is really nice. There are some fancy fans. And really, all we got to do is get this mounted. Oh yeah, I do want to put this on before I do that. This makes it so that we can control the VRM fan, the pump, and the radiator fan separately. I clicked the link, just confused me more. You have to do it on another computer, Joe. You have to have another computer that is connected to the internet. Go to that link on that computer, other computer. What is LAN? LAN is your wired Ethernet connection. That is for your wire. You need to get your wireless Wi-Fi drivers. Well, if you're local here in Michigan, Joe, I'm located in Lake Orion, Michigan. If you're anywhere near that, you could bring the PC here and I'll fix it for you. It's some diet idiot. Terrible. I think he's on his phone, Tat. Pretty sure. He needs to get on another computer and then download the wireless drivers for that motherboard. Doesn't take much to do it. He's almost there. If I wasn't in the middle of a build stream, I'd say, hey, let's jump on a Discord call and figure this out, and we'd be able to figure it out. But I am in the middle of a live build stream. Correct. Well, that's why we were suggesting a second PC, Joe. We don't know if you have a second PC or not, but if you did, that is what you would have to use, or a buddy's PC, family member's PC, or you have to carry your PC downstairs to your router / modem and plug it in there. That is the only other thing you could possibly do. We're not even going to go there, Ant-Man. That's too much. But yes, you could. You could do something like that, but we're not going there. Well, I don't know what to tell you, Joe. You need a wired connection, or you need another computer to download the Wi-Fi drivers to a USB drive. Those are the only two options. Drivers is a piece of software that tells Windows what the hardware is, so Windows knows how to use the hardware. Right now, Windows does not know how to use your Wi-Fi hardware. The driver is a piece of software that will tell Windows how to use it, and then your hardware will start working when that's installed. Hey, what's up, Alt? Does anyone know if the Gigabyte B650 Aorus Elite support 9000 series out of the box? Maybe not out of the box. You might need a BIOS update to make that happen. But the good thing is, and I'm actually working on a Gigabyte B650 Gaming X V2 motherboard, very similar. Very similar. if you look on the back of your motherboard, if it doesn't have support for the 9000 series CPU alt, you can download the new BIOS to a USB drive, follow the instructions to set up your USB drive, plug it into your USB, BIOS USB, which is usually a white one. On this motherboard, it's white. And then there's a little teeny tiny, we could zoom in here for you. Maybe it doesn't want to zoom in. It's trying to zoom back out. Hold on. Okay. There's a little teeny tiny button here that says Q-Flash. PC's powered off. You don't even need a CPU installed. Plug your USB drive that you have the BIOS on into your USB drive here. That's labeled BIOS USB, and then use a little pin or a flathead screwdriver or a small Phillips. Push this button. The PC should turn on its own. Go through and do the BIOS update. It'll flash. When it stops flashing, the BIOS update will be complete, and then you will be ready for your 9000 series CPU. So, if you have to do a BIOS update, it is actually very easy to do the BIOS update without a CPU. You don't need a CPU to do it. Yes, Joe Schmo. You need to download it to a USB drive. Hey, what's up, Ink? It's not hard, so to speak. It's just won't spawn the fish I need. 3 of them. What game are you playing that has fishing? I'm lurking, trying to catch these damn fish on my game. Nice. Holy smokes, that came out of nowhere. Download the latest version, correct? Yeah, you could download the latest version. There is a process on the USB drive. I think it's gigabyte.bin is what you have to name the BIOS to. I can't remember if that's correct or not, so maybe look up a YouTube video to verify. But I think it's gigabyte.bin, and then plug it in that USB drive. After you download it, put it on the USB drive, rename it to gigabyte.bin. Pretty sure that's what it is. Put it in that USB BIOS port, click the Q-Flash, and then it will update the BIOS for the 9000 series CPU. If it doesn't support it out of the box. That's if. It might actually support it out of the box. I don't think I've ran into a board that doesn't support it yet, so, and that's, I'm talking B650s. Hydrate. Oh, thank you. Getting a little dry there. Thank you, Tat. Roy. We're hydrating with a Coke Zero. Burden. I have a 13600K and I have it unlocked. It's 50C, 60C on CPU package on idle. Okay, that's a little warm for a 13600K. 50 to 60 Celsius at idle is warm. That's hot. Should not be that hot. Thanks in advance. Should not be that hot. I would definitely check a couple of things. One, what type of cooler are you using? If it's a nice cooler, I would check to see if the mounting is correct. Meaning, is it mounted correctly? And is there enough pressure? And if that's not the problem, check your thermal paste. Because it seems like something's off. Should not be 50 to 60 Celsius at an idle. That's hot. Also, yeah, it's a good point. Some giant idiot. Maybe your room temperature has something to do with it, because we are in the middle of summer. Could be a little bit hot. I'm hydrating with a code Red Zero. Nice. I didn't know they make those. Now I'm going to go find those. You could fry bacon on your CPU. You could, but I do not recommend it. Alright, so with that being said, and now that we have our AIO mounted, we can proceed mounting the block on the CPU. Need to peel this guy at the bottom here. Oh, that's another thing. If you recently installed your cooler and you didn't peel this, that will also make your temps go up. Make sure that's peeled. Because we're blocking a CPU right now. The normal core is like 30 to 50. I still think 50's hot. I wouldn't want to keep my CPU at that temperature at an idle. Good luck. They're only at Winn-Dixie here. And you only get them on sale because they're expensive? Alright, so we're going to apply our thermal paste. This is the MX6 by Arctic. Why am I having brain seizure? Here we go. All right, now that that's applied, we can go ahead and drop our block on top of our CPU and mount this bad boy. I'm actually gonna get this cable plugged in before I do that. A little bit easier to get now instead of... Also, it's a lot easier to plug it in the right way, not backwards. Okay. I actually don't want to. Alright, so I'm gonna line it up, hold it there, and try one of these. Half turn. Do anything more than a half turn, gets to be a pain in the butt to finish. So I guess it's called a quarter turn if it's a half of a half turn. I'll find them. Ben, the record is skipping again. What? Sorry if it's skipping again. I don't know why it's doing that. Oh wait, I'm skipping again. Ha 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 ha. From earlier when I was trying to say Arctic. Is that what you were saying? It was so funny. I downloaded the MTK 7921 7922 7902 Wi-Fi driver for Windows 10 and 11 64-bit, and I just gave me a bunch of whatever in a one folder. Now what it's in my USB. So yeah, so if you have that over on your USB drive, take that to your new computer, plug it in, open your USB drive, open that zipped folder, that's what that is, extract it to your computer or the USB drive, doesn't matter, and then run the exe in that zipped folder or that extracted folder. Yeah. I don't remember the name of the exe that's going to be in there. It's going to be something Asus something. All right. Now that that's done, run this over. Such a strange fuzz on this RGB hub. I'm gonna zip tie these, make them look nice and pretty and clean. There is download button though. I never download it. It's just a folder. Thank you, some giant idiot. Joe, join the Discord server. And if you don't have a Discord account set up, make one and join the server. And then we could jump on a call there. We could figure it out. You could do screen sharing and everything, which is really nice and very helpful for this situation because we can direct you what to click. So join the Discord server. That's about the only way we're going to be able to help you further. Oh yeah, it looks beautiful. All right, so we don't have to unpackage the GPU because it's already unpackaged. You can drop that in, but before I do, because we do have SATA storage that we need to plug in, I'm gonna run some SATA cables. Very rare for me to do that live on stream. You have a new folder on your new PC? Question mark, Joe? All right, now that those are there, we can proceed with installing the graphics card. This is an RX 6600. One day, I'm sure he'll be upgrading this. He's got a beautiful system ready for a bigger card now. There we go. Now that this is done, we can install our SATA. I can't remember if we're keeping it in the system or not. Hey, Steve Anderson, welcome back to the Build Show. Hello, having fun. We are. Joe, click any one of those folders. Same names, but the type. The first one, application, the other one is configuration settings. Try the application one. I don't know. Don't know what you're looking at. But if you could join the Discord channel, Joe, we would be able to assist. Way better. Make it a lot easier. All right, so we're going to install two 2.5-inch drives over here. Gonna have two SATA cables on this power supply, or this wouldn't have worked. And yes, Tyler, we're actually mounting your SSD. They're not just floating around in the system. Love GPU tweak. What do you mean by that? Oh, it's actually not Power Color, it's ASRock. I don't know why I left that in there. Should have corrected that. All right, next, we're going to install a hard drive. So to do that, there's two thumb screws at the bottom of the case that you have to release, and that kind of frees up the cage, hard drive cage, so that this can pop right out, and then we can drop a hard drive in here. Then we just need a couple of these hard drive screws. Finish mounting it. You overclocked your GDDR7 RAM to 16101. I did not know RAM could run that fast. That is insane. Fully hard drivers, Batman. Yeah. It's for homework. Record, not record, not record. I got it. I got it. I got it. That was an old chat. Oh, but you were nearly there, Joe. Don't stop. Don't stop. Thank you, Jenny, for the follow over there on the Twitch. Much appreciated. Permanently? Hell nah. Oh, because of some giant idiots. I mean, it is a lot better. A lot better than Wi-Fi. Okay, we're just getting our SATA power cables plugged into our drives. All our things now have power. Everybody that has a PC uses a wired connection now. A lot faster than Wi-Fi. Okay. Now that we have all of our zip ties in where I want them, I'm going to go ahead and snip them. All the tails. And there we go. Some beautiful cable management done on the backside. Not that anybody's ever going to look at it. Have a cup of coffee with your wife on me. Well, thank you, Steve Anderson, for that. Super chat. Much appreciated. Should have kept a better eye on battery percentage. Some giant idiot. Oh no. Do we think his battery died? Is Joe still here? Did he get connected? That's what I thought he was referring to. Roy, Ben, wouldn't it be nice if all PSUs and motherboards use flat style cables? So much easier to cable manage without the bulkiness of round tied together. Yeah, I mean, not all of them use it. I think Sedratep uses the flat cables. It does make it easier to cable manage when they're flat cables and not these bulky round blobs. But I mean, a main wire harness is always going to be a main wire harness, and it'll be pretty close to the same thickness. He's in Discord, still needs help. Gotcha. Is he I created the private channel for you, Nick, so you guys should be able to use that. I can jump on a call with him after I finish up the stream here. We're really close. All right, here we go. Oh, this thing's getting heavy. There we have it. A nice, clean, new build. On a new motherboard, new CPU, new RAM, new storage, new cooler. Welcome to 2025. Alright, not saying Aim4 is bad, but this sets him up for much better future upgrades down the road. Much bigger graphics cards if he wants bigger cards. He'll be able to use all of those with this setup, especially now that he has a 1000-watt power supply and this motherboard and CPU RAM combo. He definitely get into some really big cards if he wanted to later down the road. Alright, so the last thing we got to do is fire this up, make sure it posts. Tomorrow I'm going to go and start cloning. Alright, let's switch to the side view. Looks like we're going to have to zoom out a little bit because we were at a micro ATX PC last go. And a little bit of focus. There we go. I think. All right. I don't know if Tyler is here. Nobody there now? That's because I'm live streaming. I'll jump on the channel with you, Joe, after I finish this. I'm almost done. and I'll be able to help you in the Discord. All right, so here we go. We're going to fire this up for the very first time. Let's see what it looks like. See if it posts. 3, 2, 1. Hit it. And we got a post. It was actually a very fast post for DDR5. And I think we're actually booting to Windows now. Shouldn't be. But it's a SATA Windows. We'll have to get that cloned over to the M.2 SSD, and I'll be doing that tomorrow at some point. Got a few things I gotta do tomorrow. Got 2 remote sessions. Let's see here. 2 remote sessions. Gotta build out a quote for that. Got a couple of quotes to build out, actually. And then we have a build stream tomorrow, all in the day. Plus, oh yeah, finishing up Nick's build, which is pretty much done. I just have to, I think, finish up Windows updates. There was a couple that were sitting there pending before the stream, I noticed, and I was like, ah, crap, that was supposed to be done. He's in the bar chat. That's all right. I'll get him in the right place. Remote session. Yes. It's where I do a phone call and then connect to your computer remotely and help people with whatever they need in Windows. But you have to have an internet connection for that to work. But I have a couple of those tomorrow. So Windows booted up. That's cool. I wonder if I should get the drivers set up first and then clone it. Wonder if that would be easier. We also have to do a Windows 11 update on this. It's on Windows 10. Yeah, we'll figure that out tomorrow. I don't want to think about it. Intel has a 52-core CPU coming. Oh boy. They're finally trying to compete with Threadripper. But there you have it, guys. We built Tyler's PC. We helped a couple of people in chat. Joe looks like he still needs some help, so I'm gonna call it here on the stream and go help him in the Discord. If you guys want to listen in, you're more than welcome to jump over and listen into our conversation. But for the most part, I'm just going to try to get him connected to the internet, and then from there, if he needs more help, I can do a remote session and finish up the rest of his setup, or show him how to finish setting it up. Try to help him, and yeah, we'll go from there. Tomorrow, I'll do the cloning of this thing and dealing with Windows 11 and drivers and all that. Finish Nick's build, a couple of remote sessions, some quotes, fun stuff, and then we'll have a build stream again tomorrow night. So if you're interested in watching another build stream, we have another one coming tomorrow. So I'll be live probably around 8 p.m., somewhere in between 8 and 9 p.m., I would say, Eastern time. Starting another build tomorrow. So look forward to seeing everybody there. Thank you for hanging out and watching Tyler's build. We'll see you on the next build show. Have a good night, guys. You got the Wi-Fi, Joe? Oh, wait. Hold on, guys. Joe got the Wi-Fi. We're all celebrating. Yay! All right, now go download Armory Crate. Open up Edge. Type in Asus Armory Crate. Download that and run that. And don't forget your GPU drivers. All right, guys. Have a good night. We'll see you on the next one. Appreciate the stream. No problem. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you guys.